This answer is probably gonna gross some of you guys out. Hey y'all, my name is Emily and I was player 383 on Squid Game The Challenge Season 2. Since the show has come out, I have gotten so many questions via comments and DMs about my time on the show and what filming was like. So today I'm gonna try to answer as many as I can. I've gotten a lot, so I'm sorry if I don't get to all of them. Let's just jump right into it. Okay, so this question I've gotten quite a bit. Do you get to choose your player number? No, you do not. I got the number 383 and I found that out the day I landed in London. Nobody got to pick their numbers. As far as I'm aware, it's completely random, except for if you came with a pair, you got to choose whether your numbers were adjacent or not. But no, you don't get to choose. Next question, do you get money based on how long you stay there, like a stipend? No, unfortunately, we do not. I know that on a lot of other shows like Big Brother or Survivor, you get a stipend depending on how many weeks you spend there. But besides the winner, we did not get any money for being on the show. We were all real people who were taking real time off of our jobs, away from family. And so you can understand why people were so emotional and why the stakes felt so high, because truly we were not getting any compensation for being there. I was there filming for a total of 21 days and I walked away with $0 at the end of it. And by the way, guys, I'm not going in a specific order. These have no rhyme or reason. Okay, this one kind of cracked me up. Do you get to go home or go to a hotel between games? This question really made me realize that people don't understand what filming was like for this show. The answer is no. We were truly living, sleeping, eating, everything in the dorms 24/7 from the moment we arrived until the moment we got eliminated. We really had no phones, no access to the internet or contact with the outside world, no books, no any other entertainment. We all used the bathroom there, showered there, ate together, slept there. We did not even have access to a clock to know what time it was. It was truly such a unique experience, and I don't think that I have ever had anything that even came close to that. Very high pressure. We even had to sleep with our microphones on. No conversation or moment was private at all. There were a lot of players that were unlikable through the viewer's eyes. Was that the reality? Sometimes yes, and sometimes no. I think that there were certain players who did get kind of an unfavorable edit, who didn't really deserve it, but there were also players who I think got a much nicer edit than maybe I would have given them. But of course, we all know this going into the show. We are totally aware that the show has the right to portray the events and the characters any way that they want. And a lot of people seem to think that the players there, or at least some of them, were paid actors, but that is, as far as I'm aware, not true at all. There were some interesting people there, but you can imagine that with over 200,000 applicants, it was not hard for them to find 456 people with big, outlandish personalities. Okay, next we have a few questions specific to my game, and specifically about chutes and ladders. Why did I decide to go down the slide first? So I think the answer to this one is a little bit twofold. Number one, I truly did and do care about Justin, my partner for that game. He was like my guy from day one, and it's crazy just over the course of like a little bit over 2 weeks how much you truly bond with these people, how much you truly care about them. It is astonishing. So for somebody watching at home, it might seem really weird that we've become such good friends so quickly, but it is truly an environment and a mindset that I can't even really explain without you being there. So yeah, that's number one. I really did care about Justin. But number two, I was actually like 99% sure I knew which slide was correct. The whole time kind of going up, I was watching the other contestants do the slides, really thinking in my head what the board must look like underneath the set, how the slides must be configured. So by the time we got up to the top slides, I was like pretty sure that I knew which one was correct. That combined with my first point made me feel confident enough to take the chance. Okay, people have also been wondering, when we got the final twist card, why did we not swap our team with one of the others? I was a little bit salty about how they worded the card because it totally sounds like that was an option. But after reading the card, we asked production, hey, can we do that? And they told us no. So yeah, now a lot of people think that Justin and I were just a little bit dumb and didn't think of it, but we did, and it was not allowed, unfortunately. Who were my best friends in the game and how did I meet them? So honestly, I think if I had to choose just one person, I would say that Justin was my greatest ally in the game. My other closest friends who I often talked with and strategized with, Perla and Jeff, and Zoe and Kurt. And towards the latter half of the game, I would say Drake as well. Now, those first 5 people that I mentioned, Justin, Perla, Jeff, Kurt, and Zoe. I actually met them before the game even began when we had to stay in this isolation hotel for a couple of days. They were my next door roommates. So those guys, they were not even my day ones, they were my day zeros. And I'm actually still friends with these guys. It wasn't just an in-show thing. I actually attended Zoe's wedding back in May. Do I believe that teaming up is a better strategy than going alone in the game? In general, yes, I do. Squid Game, in my experience, is just as much luck and social game as it is skill. So I definitely believe that having a group of people, even if it's just a few people that you feel like you can really rely on, is a huge leg up, especially since when this filmed, the drama series had already come out. So we did all kind of have a feeling that Mingle might be coming up. And of course, that is a game where if you do not have allies, you are not going to make it. How many of our Squid Game outfits were we given? This answer is probably gonna gross some of you guys out, but we only got one. We did get to change the undershirt once, so yeah, a little bit gross. What was my favorite game to play? Ooh, I love this question because every single game was so different and challenging in its own unique way. If I had to pick, I would probably say Pentathlon. For that game, I decided very last minute to break away from all of my allies and go with a bunch of people that I did not know. And that actually ended up being a good thing because if you saw the show, you see that they split that group of 10 into 2 groups of 5 that were versing each other. But I ended up with this group of 4 other people. Those were Holland, Bridget, Manel, and Max. And I bonded so heavily with those 4 other people. That game actually took 2 full days to film. In the show, it just looks like it was all in half a day, but that is not how it went whatsoever. I played Gongi, which I was not really confident going into it, but it actually ended up only taking me about 2 tries. And I think from that point forward, I just had a lot more confidence in myself. Like, maybe I can do this. What did we get to bring into the game with us? Barely anything. Necessary medications that you had to have had an actual prescription for. I got to bring my contacts, the 1 extra sports bra, and that's really it. Once we got to the dorms, they did give us a little fanny pack that had a tin of Vaseline, a comb, and a toothbrush. And that's it. We did not get to have any of our own skincare, lotion, hair tools. My skin was struggling so bad during the game. I was even taking the Vaseline and just using it as under eye cream, putting it all over my face. Yeah, it was tough in there. Okay, this is a great question. For Catch, did I know beforehand that 82 Heath had chosen me as his proxy? No, I had no idea. And actually, once they got back to the dorm and it was revealed later, I was a little bit nervous. My whole strategy in the game was to not do anything notable. I really wanted to lay low. I think that volunteering for things, standing out, making enemies, I don't think that usually those people make it to the end of the game. So I truly did not want to be in the spotlight whatsoever. And I was a little scared that after Heath revealed that he chose me, other players would start to think like, hey, like, is 383 a threat? Does he know something that we don't know about her? Should we be worried? And I was really anxious that it was gonna kind of put a target on my back. Thankfully, I don't think anything really came of it, but it was definitely kind of a worry for me and I had no idea that it was gonna happen. Okay, speaking of which, a lot of people have asked me if I was disappointed with how little screen time I got. No. Not at all. Like I was just saying, my whole strategy in the game was to not do anything notable. So it's like, why would they show me on TV? Some people did come into the show and it was obvious that a goal of theirs was to get screen time and perhaps they wanted to make like a career in media after the show came out, which absolutely no shade. Like that is a perfectly valid reason to go on a show like Squid Game. And so those people were doing things and behaving and saying things that they knew would probably get them on TV. For myself, personally, that was not a goal. That was not a thought, really. I only had one goal in there, and that was to win the money. I did do quite a few confessionals in that little closet-looking room, and I also did do a processing room interview, the one where you're in your normal clothes. So I thought it was a possibility that they would include some of those things, but I did not think it was likely, and I'm not sad that they didn't. How was the food? People are so interested in what the eating situation was like. And honestly, I think that they probably did improve it a little bit for season 2. It was still not good, especially the breakfast. Oh my gosh, every single day it was the same exact thing. It was porridge, basically just oats and water, no salt, sugar, milk, no flavor, nothing. And it was like this really gross, sticky, gluey consistency. I personally didn't think it was that horrible, but I also know that I'm like a human garbage disposal and I eat pretty much anything. I'm like really not picky, and I think that's actually the fun fact that Netflix used about me on their website. But yeah, the rest of the meals were not great either. For lunch and dinner, it was always a protein and some kind of a grain like beans or rice, chicken, ground beef. But I will say that for every single meal, there was like a vegan and gluten-free option. So they really did try their best to be inclusive of different diets. Was it tough keeping my involvement with the show a secret? Oh my gosh, yes. We filmed this back in January of this year, 2025. So I had to keep this a secret for almost a full year. And it was so hard because I just had this experience that was like life-changing, monumental, one of a kind. And I couldn't tell anybody. What was the toughest part of the game? For me, and this might kind of be a surprise to a lot of people, but it was the constant social interaction. It wore me down so bad. Honestly, I am a really huge introvert, so having to constantly be conversing with people, constantly aware of how you're coming across was really, really exhausting. There really is no downtime. Of course, I guess like you could have gone up to one of the high beds and just kind of sat there and had a quiet moment for a little bit, but then you also have to understand that this is a social game, and if you do that, people are going to see you. And who knows what they're thinking? They might start to think, oh, that person's kind of a loner. Maybe they don't have a lot of friends. Maybe they don't like us. Every single thing we did in that dorm and in the games felt like it was under such a microscope. When I got home from the games, I literally think I slept and didn't talk to anybody for 3 days straight. What was my audition tape like and how did I get on the show? I feel like I could make a whole video talking about just this. This was my very first experience with anything like reality TV, so the whole process was really interesting to me. Basically, I heard about the casting opportunity, I submitted a video and an application, went through this whole entire very long, very intensive interview process, had to get cleared by all sorts of doctors, physical and mental, and if anybody wants to see my actual audition video, maybe I'll post it if I can get permission. And finally, and I will end it here, despite how challenging and insane the whole experience was, would I do it again? Absolutely yes. So once in a lifetime, so fortunate. I would 1000% do it again if given the opportunity. Okay, and I will end it there for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that I answered some of your questions about my experience on the show. If you have any more, please leave them down in the comments, and if there's enough, maybe I'll make a part 2. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!